If you're a woman who struggled to play the piano, maybe you took lessons but you've forgotten everything you've learned, or maybe you want to play piano but you're not sure where to start. Maybe you struggle with making slow and fast songs sound good. The At Your Own Pace lessons are for you. You'll go from not playing at all to playing in church. It opens soon, so make sure you join the wait list. The link is in the description below, or go to thetunebucket.com. Hey everybody! So I got a good question that I thought would be good to answer when I'm doing one of these lives, because it pertains to small music departments, which we have been talking about a ton, and that's kind of my passion. So this question is about what to do if you have a small music department with only a keyboard. Okay, I'm going to give you guys some tips. This is from personal experience. So the first church I was music director at, I had a drummer, I think, and a guitar player the very first service I was there. And then they weren't able to play anymore after that. And so it was just me, and I was trying to sing, help the parts, worship lead, be the choir director, play the piano, keep the tempo, keep everything going, and I would go home on Sunday nights and just be so physically exhausted and in so much pain. It took me a while to just like relax and unwind, and I was basically like a zombie the next day. So I do not recommend that. If you are in a position in your church where you are doing everything, I highly recommend that you take some of these tips that I'm going to give you and put them to good use, because they're going to help you. Hey guys, hey Jackie, hey Annalisa, hey you guys. Okay, so the first thing that I would do is highly recommend that you start using drum loops. Now this is a game changer even if you have more than just a keyboard. So say that you have keyboard, organ, bass, drums, and guitar at your church, but you don't use drum loops. I highly recommend it, because it takes your playing immediately to a whole different level, takes the band to a different level, your whole music department to a different level, without you really having to do anything except for figure out how to hook up and play the drum loops. What it does for you if you are just a piano player is it adds an extra instrument, and it takes the pressure off of you to carry the rhythm, to try to play the rhythm on the keyboard, and kind of fills in the gaps of your playing and really makes it sound more professional. So we use the website loopsbycwmobile.com. That is an amazing website. Has tons of drum loops you can use. You just have to figure out the BPM for your song, and then you can match that BPM to any loop that they have available. So I've had a couple of people ask about the subscription service for Loops by CW. We don't use this subscription service. I think it's like $20 a month. We just buy the loops individually, and they're 99 cents a piece, which is an incredible steal when you consider how much time and effort it took to make that. So once you purchase that drum loop, you will transfer it to an iPad, whether it's from your computer or however you do that. If you're not techie, I recommend delegating that to somebody in your church. So I'm not actually the person who buys our drum loops. I have one of our drummers that does it. So Missy is one of our drummers, and I kind of showed her the website and sort of how to pick out drum loops, and she's kind of taken that on her own now. If there's a new song that doesn't have a drum loop, she'll go on and purchase loops without me ever having to worry about it, and she just completely takes care of it, puts it on the iPad, and it's there for service and for all the other drummers. We also keep a list of drum loops and the songs that they go with, so you might use one drum loop for like 10 different songs if they're similar beats per minute or BPM. And we have that linked on Planning Center, so our drummers can go into Planning Center, and you know how you have the option to look at songs? So if you click songs, then you can scroll down, and we have it listed under songs as loop list. So they'll go to the loop list, open it up,
and all the songs are listed there. Any new loops that we've added are listed there, so they can go ahead and compile a loop set list for the service, okay? I hope that makes sense. So here's the second tip I have for you if you are wanting to train musicians, if you're doing this solo thing that's not. No bueno, I don't recommend it. I would get people helping you ASAP. Okay, second step is to play chords or play songs that have 4 chords. Okay, we did a song Sunday morning. We did Because of You. Every time I lift my hands, it's because of you by Eddie James. It's 4 chords. Sunday night, we did the song, Lord, you are awesome. Okay, 4 chords. Both of those songs are the same exact chord progressions, the same exact numbers as Freedom. Freedom, freedom. So it's 1, 5, 6, 4, just in different keys. Those are perfect songs. Songs like This Is How I Fight My Battles. Songs that just have 4 chords. So what happens when you have a repertoire of songs that have just 4 chords, you can start training people, okay? Don't overthink this. I don't know how to play the drums. I don't know how to play the bass, but you don't have to know how to play the drums or bass to train people to do it, okay? So here's what you would do with a bass player is you would take a chord chart, simple chord chart, like we'll say Freedom, for example, by Israel Houghton. Everybody knows that one. And it's in the key of E. And so you'd sit down with a bass player and have them figure out where the notes are. So it's going to be E, B, C sharp, A, I think. I'm not in a piano, but I think that's right. And so they find those notes. It's 4 notes. Anybody can learn to play that, whether they've ever played the bass or not, in a week, right? Like if they practice for 10 minutes a day, they could play Freedom on Sunday. You literally could have a bass player on Sunday. Okay? So you do Freedom. Then you do Surrounded, Fight My Battles. They practice those 4 notes of that song and can play it on Sunday. Even better if songs have the same pattern if they're on the bass. Because when you play the bass, if songs have the same pattern, it's just the same thing over and over. You're just playing it at different points, okay? It's a little different than the keyboard. If you don't have a drummer, the best way to get a drummer up there is figure out a way where they can just play the foot pedal. That's what I call it, or I think it's called the bass drum. See, I don't even know what it's called. And then the snare. So, bonk, chink, chink, and then you have your loop going that's filling in the gaps. You're playing the piano, and you have your bass player over there playing his 4 notes over and over for 5 minutes, and he's got this song down because it's just 4 notes, right? Very, very, very simple. You could add a second keyboard to your band. So this is a keyboard that has a lot of sounds on it. You want something that has different kinds of string sound, different kinds of brass sounds, pad sounds, synth sounds. Get a keyboard for your second keyboard for that. Your main keyboard should really just have a good piano sound. You don't necessarily need a full synthesizer for that. So what they would do is you could have your second keyboard player play with their right hand, but they would play exactly what the bass player's playing, but play it higher. So if we're playing Freedom, then they would play just the E note, the B note, C sharp, A. I feel like that's wrong, but you guys understand what I'm saying. It's 4 notes. Don't go play that and say that the chords are wrong, because they probably are. I can't think right now. So they're just playing one single note. E, B, C sharp, A. And when they have the brass sound, it sounds, I'm telling you, try it. It sounds like, oh my goodness, like we have this going on, and they're just playing single notes. So anybody in your church, doesn't matter if they know the notes on the keyboard or not, you can put stickers on the keyboard for them to play the song. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, play them in that order. 1, 2, 3, 4. Got it. Super simple. Then once they graduate from single notes and they start learning chords, you can start adding chords in. They can add octaves in their left hand, and then you can transfer them to the piano. See how this goes? Same thing for organ. If you want to start them on the second keyboard and then migrate them to the organ first, depending on what your main instrument is, they could start off on second keys, they can promote to the organ, and then they could promote to main keys. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody who plays second keys is a beginner musician, because I have incredible musicians who play second keys and they play it like nobody's business, right? Like, you can fake it on any instrument. You can also play amazing on any instrument. So those tips are really going to make a difference. The third option that you have is to play with stems. If you guys have never used stems, we've been doing this for a while, so I can tell you what works for us. We don't have anybody on our team that knows how to use Ableton, that's super techie. It's trying to switch to Ableton for us was just overwhelming and not workable at this point. So what we've done is we get on the website, I was trying to think, it's called loopcommunity.com. And if you go on Loop Community, you can type in any song. So I'm just going to go on there right now, Loop Community, and let's see if they have a stem for Surrounded. Okay, they have several. They have different versions of the song. They have Surrounded by Bethel Music, by Ultimate Call. They have Surrounded by Free Worship, Upper Room, Michael W. Smith. So what you could do is you could purchase that stem, and what it is it's going to have different channels for piano. It's going to have organ, it's going to have bass, it's going to have drums. We've actually used a stem when we didn't have a bass player, and it fills in that bass part. So the song is separated into sections: verse 1, chorus; verse 2, bridge. And you could either have somebody tap and run the stem, so if you wanted to go back to verse 1, you could, so it doesn't feel like you're playing by soundtrack. Or if you wanted to rearrange the song and map it out like you knew you were going to do this song a certain way, you could do that. But I would highly recommend experimenting with stems. And then what you do is you download the Prime app, Prime. Yes, it's like Amazon, but it's not Amazon. It's different. It's a white icon with a blue little circle in it. And when you download that app, you can play those stems from your computer, your phone, your iPad, your devices. I'm sure they have the Prime app for, what are the other devices called? Not Apple. Guys, my brain's on the fritz today. Anyway, that's really a great option to use, maybe starting off with your special songs, using stems for that. Maybe try one. Really practice it. Anytime you try something new, don't set your team up for failure by putting them on the spot. Make sure you're spending a lot of time to practice that behind the scenes. So if it takes you 6 weeks to practice with stems before you do them in service, that's winning. That's what you want to do, because you want to make sure you're ready. You don't want your team to go sideways in the middle of a service while you're using stems and then them never want to use stems again because they really didn't get acclimated to them. Does that make sense? Same thing with drum loops. Same thing with putting new musicians on the platform to play, okay? Those are all the best tips I have for you guys. That's what we've done to train new musicians in our church. And I'm really proud of where our musicians are, where our music department is, and I'm going to share that with you guys so that you also can start implementing those tips for your music department. So if you have any questions, make sure you reach out to me. I'd love to help you guys get anything set up or work through any of these things so you guys can have an amazing music department as well, okay? If nobody told you today, I believe in you. If you are already a piano player and you feel stuck or you need help, make sure that you get on the wait list for the Piano Players Coaching Group. It opens in just a few weeks. It's a great resource for working through leadership issues and playing the piano and building your music department, all that kind of stuff. So make sure that you do join the wait list. It's pianoplayerscoaching.com. If nobody's told you, I believe in you, okay? I believe in you guys. You have what it takes to be an incredible leader, an incredible musician, because you showed up here today. I'm going to sign off. As always, I hope you guys have a great evening, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, everybody.